Myles Garrett has to be the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year after he pretty much single-handedly beat the Colts in Week 7. He had 2 sacks, 8 defensive stops, 2 forced fumbles, and a blocked kick. And other than Aaron Donald, I haven't seen a pass rusher where it's this inevitable that they're going to win. The combination of skill and technique with just built-in-the-lab athletic traits is overwhelming for pretty much every offensive lineman. Right here, he gets his first strip sack with a cross chop. He's got Bernard Raymond out on an island, so he jab steps inside to threaten that B gap. Raymond does a good job protecting his outside hand and pulling it back as he's getting into the chop, but then Garrett rips through. He's got that elite bend to turn the corner, but then he also has the play strength to force his way through the offensive tackle as he's flattening to the quarterback, and great hand-eye coordination here to force the fumble at the end of the play. Right here, it's tied up at 14. The Colts are looking to take a lead with a field goal. Myles Garrett just leaps over the Colts offensive line and blocks the kick. This is one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen on special teams. There is a rule that you can't jump over the offensive line if you're making contact with them, so you couldn't like put your hands on their shoulders and then use that to propel yourself forward. And watching this play, he completely clears the Colts offensive line, except that right foot kind of drags across the guard's back. I don't know exactly what the rule is, if that would count as incidental contact or something, but I've never seen anything like this before. Next play, the Colts are up 21-17, backed up in their own end zone. A lot of elite pass rushers you can kind of take out of the game if you just chip them the whole time, but Myles Garrett just bounces off the chip help, outruns the right tackle. Minshew gets a lot of depth in his drop here, and then he drifts over to the left. You got to be aware of where Myles Garrett is at all times. You can't just hang out in the end zone, but Garrett has that closing speed to strip the ball out as he's getting into his throwing motion, and the Browns get a touchdown. But it hasn't just been one game. Myles Garrett's on pace to have another historic season. Looking at all of the pass rushing stats in PFF's database, which goes back to 2008, he's currently on pace to have the highest pass rush win rate ever for an edge rusher at 29%. For his career, he has 3 single season performances in the top 10. He's got the 6th highest pressure rate of all time at 21.4%, and the highest PFF pass rushing grade ever at 95.0, narrowly beating out the record that he set last year. So for most of the season before Week 7, the Browns' entire defense was playing at an elite level, and Myles Garrett was just one of a bunch of players that were playing at the top of their game. But this week you saw him just completely take over the game and single-handedly lead the Browns to a victory.